Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our spiritual toolbox. My name's Lisa Lyle. This is my channel here on YouTube. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I trust that something here will be supportive to you on your own personal spiritual journey. For those of you who have been with me for a while, thank you so much for continuing to come back. Your love and support means so much to me. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment. It's absolutely free to do. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and it greatly supports me. So thank you for all your subscribes. Thumbs up and comments down below are also greatly supportive to support growth. So today we are going to be talking about white sage, Palo Santo, smudging, and using these things to support ourselves on our spiritual journey. So many years ago, I'll just share a little story about how I became connected to white sage. And at the time, I was probably in my early 20s, and I was visiting a new store in the Toronto area, and it was called Gifts from the Earth. And it was a beautiful store, so many crystals, so, different decks of cards and that kind of stuff. And I was really drawn, I was guided in the store to this. And so this is a bundle of white sage, ethically sourced, of course. And I was guided to a bundle of sage, and the guidance I received was to buy it. And I'm like, well, what the heck am I going to do with that? And I heard smoke it, and I was like, smoke it? I don't think so. And I bought it. And at that time, I just received the guidance from my higher self from within. And so I feel it's really important to say here again, and I know I've said it in day 1, and I will repeat it again here. Absolutely everything I do, everything I share comes from a higher source, from God, a loving mother, father, creative energy that guides and supports me from within. So there will be some who will say, oh, a white person burning sage is appropriation of indigenous cultures. And to that, I'm going to say, can we all just come to a place where we allow each of us, individuals, to develop and come to understand and return to our spiritual essence just as we're guided to do? There's nothing that I'm not appropriating anything. And it's funny because I have a beautiful friend who sends me, this is like herbal gold, but white sage, BC sage, wild grown. And she actually goes with an elder and they harvest it in a ceremonial fashion. So this stuff is only brought out for special occasions. And if you could smell it, it's absolutely divine. So again, anything that I share, anything I do, the intention is not to offend anyone. It is simply tools I have been guided to work with to support my spiritual journey and my connection to the ultimate source, a loving mother, father, God. So, and let's face it, these herbs and these various things have been placed on the earth by said God. So they are here for us to use, and we have to stop with this nonsense of appropriation this and appropriation that. And if I put braids in my hair, it's appropriation. If I, whatever, I'm over it. And so with that said, let's just get back into this. So at the time, I was guided to buy that bundle of white sage. And when I went home, I received guidance to light it. I'm not going to light this one. I will light what I have in the bowl here because I do have the abalone shell. So there is some of the special white sage in here, the BC sage. For those who don't know, BC is British Columbia. I am in Canada. I'm in Ontario. Yeah, Canada, eh? All right, so it's just a little bit going in there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to light it. The reason we use white sage and the reason I use white sage, and again, none of this is written down in the books. All of it comes from my own intuition. I don't really, unless I'm guided to delve deep into something and research it, I don't really. I just trust the guidance I receive and I work with it as I receive it. So when I burn white sage, and the first time that I did, I was guided to light the stick. And to start at the front door of my home at the time. And I was guided to walk clockwise around the home, fanning the sage up in the corners. And I was saying prayers to God to clear the space and to make it energetically aligned with source. So we use white sage to clear our home space. So I continue, and I still continue that practice. And when I am generally clearing a home or clearing my home, I open windows and doors in order for anything that is lower vibration sitting in the environment to leave. And a lot of people just sage their house and leave windows and doors closed. And I really feel it's important for us to open the windows and doors as we're cleansing our space. And so I just go around the whole house in a clockwise motion, fanning the smoke up into the corners. I don't have my fan here. Should I go get it? Yeah, let me just go grab my little fan. So this is my smudge feather. I actually have some that I found. I have an eagle feather, and I have some swan feathers and hawk feathers, various other feathers. So you can use anything. I actually bought, or this was gifted to me, and it just sits in here like this. So I just use the fan and waft the smoke up into the corners, making sure I'm getting into the corners. And then when we make it back to the front door, we seal the door in the energy of loving source's unconditional love. Okay? And, again, I do say prayers. I talk to my angels. I talk to God as I'm doing the smudging. So I would encourage you to do the same. And again, trust your own intuition. The spiritual journey is as unique as we each are. And yet it brings us together through the heart. So that is white sage. So I would use white sage to clear my home from negative energies and even my personal space. And I know that at like a powwow or whatever at the opening ceremony, there is an elder who traditionally comes around and offers the sacred smoke to everyone, and a lot of people will over their head, over their eyes, over their ears, and to their heart. So again, work with it as you feel guided. I work with this to clear the home space and my own personal energy field. And it's really funny because my son, a couple years ago, he had been hanging out at a friend's house. And when he came home, he asked to be, if I could use the white sage and clear the energy around him because he felt some, let's say, lower, denser energies in the space. So I did. And there's lots of different types of smudge sticks. There's one in here. I don't even remember what this is. It was gifted to me, but I believe that it was to bring in the energy of abundance. I can't remember what it is. I'm sorry. But you'll see a variety of smudge sticks. Sweetgrass. I used to grow and make my own sweetgrass braids. And when I work with sweetgrass, it's always to bring in the energy of the sweetness of life into my experience. And sometimes we can mix it up. So sweetgrass and lavender I have worked with before. And then oftentimes, I don't think I have any handy here. It's probably in my other container. But sometimes cedar too. And when I burn cedar, when I work with the energy of cedar, I'm really connecting to the energy of my ancestors and loved ones in spirit. And, truly the ancestors who love me unconditionally and support me, even though I may never have met them in this lifetime. So that's that. Also, tobacco. I do work with ceremonial tobacco, and this is an offering so when I'm out in nature and I'm doing ceremonies, I will put tobacco down in the four directions and call on the ancestors and the angels, excuse me, God, the angels, and the ancestors that within these directions. So, as I place it in the east, I can't even think where. Just a sec, I'll find it. I don't want to give false information or misinformation. Right, Raphael. So if I'm putting tobacco in the east, I call on God, a loving source, the ancestors who love me unconditionally, and Archangel Raphael, who is the guardian of the East. And I call on them and ask them to be present in the ceremony, and I place the tobacco. And I continue turning east to south to west to north and place tobacco in all four directions as an offering of thanks and gratitude for the love and support that we are receiving. So, what else? Palo Santo. So for years, like 20 years, I worked with white sage predominantly. And then in the last, I would say, decade or so, I've really been guided. And it was actually due to receiving a gift of Palo Santo from someone, also known as Holywood. And again, ethically sourced. It's so important that when we're working with herbs and oils and various things that we work with, that we ensure that they are ethically sourced. Because that's why I love my British BC white sage, because I know who's picked it, and there's a different feel to it, that's for sure. So Palo Santo can be used in much the same way as white sage. And it is, you can't smell it, but the smell is so sweet. I love the smell. And just burn this. I mean, I do it a lot at the beginning of videos, just to clear the space and to clear the connection between our hearts, so that I'm a clear and pure channel. To bring through messages to support the heart that beats within us all. And this is just a little easier to use in the house without, opening all the doors and windows. The white sage can get rather, the house can get pretty smoky. And I have set off many, many fire alarms smudging the home. What else? What else? So I talked about cedar, sweetgrass, sage, Palo Santo, and then we have the resins. So this is resin, and this one is frankincense, and in there with it is some myrrh. So we've heard about frankincense and myrrh in the Bible. These I wouldn't burn in the abalone shell because it will burn it through. So for those, I have pottery, and I have some different things that I work with, but this is good. And then when we're burning resins, we have to use a charcoal, like in your barbecue, but not the barbecue charcoal. And they usually come in tubes. One of the brands is Three Kings, and you light it, and then it'll spark, 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 and it as it begins to ignite itself, and then I would place this in the bottom of whatever vessel I am working with. I have a marble container. It's a mortar, and from a mortar and pestle set that I use. So this would be lit, and then you would take whatever resin that you're working with. So let's just see, I'll show you. So resin is from trees, right? Tree sap. It's like amber, comes from trees. So does this stuff. So this is, you've all probably seen it before. And once the charcoal is lit, I would then take my resin and place it on the charcoal, and it will start to burn and create smoke and a nice aroma. And really, when it comes to working with resins, I just do it as I feel needed, that I need it. I mean, all of these things, let me just look at my little notes that I took here, were made so I don't forget anything. But all of these things, yeah. So frankincense and myrrh are also known as power, as well as copal. Copal. Oh, where is my copal? I don't have it here, but it's another resin. I have a whole container of resins. I'm not sure where I put them. I have containers of stuff everywhere. But, and the resins are different sizes, and you can just break them down into burnable pieces. But I don't use those for anything in particular. Sometimes when I'm feeling very connected to, like, say, Jesus or whatever, I will receive the guidance to burn some frankincense and myrrh. Copal has been another one that randomly I'll receive guidance to burn, and I'm not even really sure why. Oftentimes for that, it's within moon circles. So I feel that really has something to do with the divine feminine. What else? What else? So incense, so we can have the smudge sticks like the white sage loon. We're going to go for a walk, Boo. Come here. We can work with the smudge sticks like the white sage stick that I showed here, and the other little one, which I forgot what it was, loose resin. And then we have the incense sticks. And this is cedar and sage. And again, ethically, I always work with mostly Canadian stuff just because I am Canadian. So these are hand dipped smudge sticks, and you can find them in lots of places. I don't know how much they cost, but there's all different kinds. So this, I generally burn incense in my house every day. Oftentimes I use these incense to light my candles and then just let it burn. And it's for nothing in particular, just to simply bring that warmth to the home space. I love the aroma of anything very earthy. That's my jam. Anything earthy is my thing. I smell like the earth. So let's see, is there anything else? No, that's it. That is my little take on working with herbs and incense, resins, and loose leaf or smudge sticks like the sage. So I trust here I've got a special little thing as well that a friend made for me. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. And it's a variety of Oh, I'm spilling it on myself. It is, oh my gosh, sage from like some really um, beautiful places. Sundance, Cheyenne River, Wounded Knee, Carcross, Yukon, Sweetgrass from Carcross, Yukon, some tobacco, cedar, roses from the Yukon, and 108 herbs and plants from Bhutan, blessed in 39 monasteries for a year. So this is very special. And yeah, beautiful. And we can make our own. Again, as we learn to trust and as we're developing our intuition, we can make our own um, blends of herbs. And I like to do that with things that I harvest. And when I harvest, if I harvest anything, I always ask for permission before I do. And in these cases, always laying tobacco when we are receiving um, a blessing of support from whether it's a cedar tree, whatever it may be, asking for permission and before we take. And I usually look for pieces that are already on the ground instead of cutting off of a tree. So that's that. That is my little take on working with sacred herbs and smudging and all that good stuff. I hope I've answered some of your questions. If you have any more, drop them in the comments below and I will be sure to address them in a future video. So, beautiful souls, thank you so much for being here on day 3. Join me tomorrow, day 4, as we talk about having the energy and working with the energy and cycle of the moon. Tomorrow is going to be our Virgo full moon of 2024. And so I'm really excited to connect with you and share some ways that we can work with moon energy in our spiritual toolbox. So until next time, everyone, I see you, I feel you, I love you. Thank you so much for showing up. Take good care.